Merhabalar. Bugün ben ve Pedro, Google'ın gözünden web siteleriniz adlı sunumu yapacağız. Biliyorum bu kadar çok güzel sunumdan sonra ve önümüzde de öğle yemeği varken beklemek biraz zor geliyor. Ama merak etmeyin. Bizim yarım saatlik sunumumuz sizin için çok ilgi çekici ve yararlı olacağını düşünüyorum. Fakat sunumumuz Pedro Dublin'den geldiği için Portekiz'den İngilizce olacak. Siz de kulaklıklarınızla simultane tercüme şeklinde devam edebilirsiniz. Buradan sonra İngilizce devam ediyor olacağım. Okay, let me introduce myself. My name is Moris Kastro. I graduated from physics department from Boğaziçi University. Right now I'm living in Dublin and working in Google Search Quality team. It's been more than 1 year. And as a side note, I'm a big fan of NBA basketball. And as I said, we have a guest from our Dublin team, Pedro. He's a very senior, experienced member of our team. He's here to share his knowledge and know-how. Please give him a warm welcome.
Thank you, Moris. So, as Moris noted, I'm Pedro. I've been in Google for around 5 years and a few months now. I work mostly in the search quality team, and my focus has been in the Portuguese language market. But I like to collaborate with all the languages in the office, so I try to help them and my colleagues as much as I can. So I'm here today to share my knowledge with you and to explain you how Google works and how search works. So my colleague a while ago did a presentation about search, but we are going to complement a little bit more. So I'm going to start introducing you to Google Search. Then Moris is going to take you through the fantastic set of webmaster tools that Google provides to all webmasters. And then we will wrap up with a few references and bookmarks that you might want to keep for future reference in maintaining your website in Google. So what's Google search? Who knows the difference between paid results and organic search results? Probably my colleague already referenced this a while ago. So how many of you are familiar with the difference between these two sets of results? Can I see some hands? Oh, so many people. Great. So on the top, as you can see in this slide, and on the right side, you can see the paid search results. So those results are driven by AdWords, and people bid on keywords to appear there. So the more you pay for keywords, the higher you appear, or the more often you appear. But I wanted us to focus today on that bigger rectangle, slightly below in red, which are the organic search results. So, and those search results are sites that appear there they appear there by merit. So, and what is merit? Well, merit is a combination of relevance and reputation. So, relevance, it's something that you can influence on your site by adding content, by making it more accessible. Reputation is something that other people and from other websites attribute to you, whether why they recommend you on their sites, when they link to you, when they mention you, even on social networks. So, and your site will appear there higher or lower according to how relevant and reputable it is for a search result. So why are we here to explain this today? Well, because we want you to understand basically how search works and how can you make the most of your websites. And we have this set of tools that we've developed along the time and to make it scalable to accommodate as many webmasters as we would like. And Moris is going to take you through these tools after. But first, I would like to explain to you how Google works, what's behind Google. So, how many people here know what Google does to get all those pages? Wow, okay. A few hands, great. So, it's basically like 3 simple processes. Google starts by crawling, then indexing, and then ranking. But each of these processes has a few sub-steps. So Google starts by crawling the web. It sends spider bots or software spider bots. And it starts from reputable websites, or sites that we know that are trusted, like governmental websites, CNN.com, say, Wikipedia, and university websites, governmental websites. So we start by going to those sites, and we harvest, we crawl the content, and once we crawl the content, we extract the links that are there. And those links often point to external websites. So we follow those links to those external websites and so on, and we crawl those websites again, and we follow, it's like a recursive process. So once we have this big set of pages that we crawled, we look at them and say, okay, we need to index those by a criteria of relevance and reputation. So we look at the pages and we index them as we think that they should be displayed. And once like a Google user sits at their desk and does like a query, we will serve those results to the user, which we already crawled and ranked previously. So how does Google see your site? Well, basically, like, Google sees everything that is like text-based. We see HTML, which is like that snapshot, little snapshot. It's there on the right. It's HTML. It's what's under what your site. It's what your site is made of. So Google sees HTML and everything like text-based, like Word documents, Excel documents, PDF documents. We have a little bit more trouble crawling like rich content, like images or Flash or Ajax. So if your site is mainly composed by these elements, there are a few ways that you can, a few things that you can do to improve it. For example, if your site uses mostly images, you could like try to be more descriptive on the naming your images. It's because like, it's not that Google doesn't understand images. It's like Google is a bot. And when Google sees an image on the web, it understands like patterns, it understands color, but it doesn't really understand the context of the image, right? So I'm sure many of you already like went on a day to take photos outside, and you came home and you plugged your photo camera to your computer, you downloaded all those images, and then you wanted to put them on your website, and you wanted those images to appear for search queries. When someone does a search for something, those images should display. So instead of like, you probably noticed that when you download those images, they often come with weird names like dsc123.jpg. Well, this is not a very descriptive name, is it? Well, what if you rename that image, for example, if you took a picture of your cat playing on the grass, just rename it to cats playing on the grass.jpg, right? And when Google fetches that file, it will read the file name, and it will understand that there is some context already to that file. But you can go even further. You can use in the HTML code, there is this attribute that you can give to images, which is the alt tag attribute. And what this attribute does, it actually gives some more context to the image. So for example, you can use it to write a more longer description of your image, like my cat's playing on the grass in my backyard on a sunny afternoon. And all these keywords will be associated to this context when Google tries to understand what this image is about. So, but you can think even further, because if you think that like, it's me, well, for example, me and Moris, or many of you, we navigate every day with normal browsers, but there are like visually impaired people that navigate with special browsers that they actually don't see images or rich content. And they actually see the same what Googlebot sees. They just see everything text-based. So if a person with this kind of browser arrives to your website and would like to understand the content of it, And if you didn't use any of these attributes or techniques, it will be much harder for this person to understand what this image is about. So this here below, it's what like one of these like text-based browsers sees when it arrives to an image that has actually the alt text in it. So you will not see the image, but you will see the description that you put in the alt text. So you are already giving to the person, and in this case to the crawlers of the web, an extra content to your image. So, and that's about it, about how Google kind of search works and how Google crawls the web. But now Moris is going to give you an insight into the very, very good set of webmaster tools that has been very good to me as a personal note.
Great. Wow. Thanks for the great introduction for the search. Okay, let me start by asking, how many of you maintaining your own site? Wow. You guys are going to love this part of this presentation. Because I'm going to talk about webmaster tools, which is, we can say basically, shows you an overview of how your site is doing on Google search results. So, for that reason, I'll try to show you some screenshots and tips on how to increase your efficiency on usage of webmaster tools. We all know that some users might encounter some problems, or some of you might be using analytics, or some of you are using some AdWords in order to keep track of your health of your site. So here are some problems that our users encounter, and how you can diagnose and how you can fix it with webmaster tools. Actually, when you compare what you can do with webmaster tools, it's like the tip of the iceberg when you compare to these results. But all of the praises for the tool, I think it is time to show you some screenshots. After you verify your site, and after you add your website and verify your website in the Google Webmasters, you immediately start getting data about your website. This data is very comprehensive, fresh, and totally private to you. And like most of the Google products, it's totally free. And other than that, if you sign into your account in the Google Webmaster Tools, probably you will see something similar to this screenshot. Actually, this screenshot is taken from our Google Webmaster blog, official blog. So what the data you see in here, all is real data. Let me go by the modules a little bit. You can see in the top, in the control panel, there are top search queries that your site is ranking for. You can track some of them in analytics, but probably you will see some more details in here. Other than that, there's this crawl errors that Pedro mentioned. Crawling is one of the most essential part in our indexing pipeline. So if you have some crawling error in your website, probably you need to know that immediately. Other than that, in this part, you will see that links that the site is just linking to your website. Basically, we can say that where people are talking about your website and what they are talking about when you follow the link. Now, it is time to give you some takeaways from this presentation. Number one tip of the day is giving the information that users are looking for. It's really important. I know that we Turkish people like to use fancy words while describing our business. For example, think about if you have a moving company. We tend to use words like packaging solutions. Or wait, I have a better one. Everywhere, every time, wherever you go. Okay, I admit that's cool. That's really cool. But I think if people are looking for moving company, they'll search for moving company. So be sure that the content that you have in your website is just what people are looking for. They should match. You can easily track that using webmaster tools. Here you can see the top search queries that your site is ranking for in detail. Here, in the search queries page in the webmaster tools, you can see the top search queries here. Yeah, okay. Here you can see the top search queries. You can see the impressions here, how many times your site is showed in the search results. You can see the click rates here. And also, you can easily change the date given in order to change the period, and you can ask for the period that you're looking for. And also, other than that, I think it's a great addition to analytics tool. You can easily see your average position in the specific queries, which is really important if you're doing some kind of a search engine optimization, or you want to know how your site is doing in the specific queries. Other than that, this content analysis and what you have in your site is important. But I think one more important thing is how you show it. It's like a little bit refresher from what Pedro said. Google is not doing really good on the images right now. We are doing better on the text. So be sure that you are using the text very wisely and accurately in your website. Let me give you an example about that. This is my university web page. It's actually, this screenshot is taken from the search results pages. So if you search for both university in the Google.com.tr, it is highly possible that you will have similar results like this, looking like this. So in here, you can see both university main page in the title, and also this snippet shows what you can find in the website. University and academic calendar, announcement, and news about the website. And also, here, you can see some site links. How many of you seen those kind of links before? Great, wow. So, these links, just below the URL, is mostly used for ease the user's navigation through your website. So, if you have a content-rich website, like the product pages or university page or some kind of a similar page, Google bots automatically search for the website. It tries to understand the structure of the website, and if Google bot thinks that it's valuable for the user, it puts site links into your website. So it is possible that you don't have site links right now, but it doesn't mean that you won't have anything anytime. So it is possible that if you have site links in your website, you can easily manage them using webmaster tools. Here, you can see the site links for your website. This is actually for our Google blog. And if you think that site link is inappropriate to be there, or just accidentally put there, you can easily manage them and block them to be there. So when you block them, users won't see the site links in the search results. Other than that, this is what you can do. It's like changing the content, how you're showing that. I think it is also important that if you have some problems, it's not sourced from your knowledge or anything else. So if there's any problem like the crawl errors, as I mentioned just a few minutes ago, crawling is one of the most essential parts in our indexing pipeline. If there's a crawl error, if Googlebot tries to reach to your website and cannot see any data, it is a really bad user experience. So webmaster should know that immediately. And after they know that, try to diagnose the problem and try to fix that in order to increase the user experience. So be sure that Google bots are crawling properly your website. If you have problems like that, you can easily manage them from the crawling error modules from Webmaster Tools. Here you can see URLs that are listed here, and also the error categories here. And also when you follow the link, you will have in detailed information about the error. And probably after you search for the error in our Webmaster forums, probably you will have some kind of information on how to fix it. Other than the problems, it is possible that you might have vulnerabilities in your website, which means the malware term, we probably see that nowadays very recent, very more and more. How many of you heard the malware term? What is malware? Great, Pedro. Okay, malware means all the malicious software tries to harm your computer or server. So it's again a great communication tool, this Webmaster tool, that we try to communicate and warn our users using the Webmaster tools. So just make sure that your site is safe and giving a really good user experience to the visitors. Some of you might have seen those kind of warning when they're searching in Google. This is a warning which tries to warn the visitors that this site might be compromised and the content might be changed without the knowledge of the webmaster. Which means that there might be some weak points in the server or your computer or some website or some of your website, and hackers might attack and change the content of your website. Or even worse, they might add some more content, which we sometimes call that spam. So we try to warn visitors by this warning in the search results, and also at the same time, we warn the webmasters through the Webmaster tools. There's like lots of suspected hacking in the specific URL. So if you see some kind of warning when you're searching in the Google, please be advised that be extra careful and be more suspicious about the web page. And also, other than that, hacking is not limited to changing or adding some content to website. It is possible that hackers might put some malicious software that harm the visitors as well. So, our bots are constantly crawling the web, trying to index, and trying to find some anomalies, if any, in the websites. So if we suspect of any anomalies, we try to, again, warn the users by putting this kind of warning. This site might harm your computer. So, again, if you see some kind of warning, be extra careful about downloading anything from the website, just checking the website, the content of the website, or something like that. So, again, these warnings are really important for the users. But again, who, maintaining your own site like you, should know that immediately. So when you log into your website, if you have suspected website with malware, distributing malware, probably you will see some kind of label like this that says this site might have malicious software. And also, other than that, when you follow the link with the more information part, you'll have detailed information about which URLs having the malicious software, and probably when you search for it, you'll have more information, detailed information about your website. This part is all about changing the content and diagnosing problems and tracking keeping the track of health of your website. But other than that, this is more like a reactive Google friendliness. In order to increase your Google friendliness of your website, you can create proactive do proactive actions. Right now, Pedro will talk about the resources that you have in order to have proactive Google friendliness.
Thank you, Moris. Great stuff. So content analysis, link analysis, malware notifications, and it's free. So really great. So before we wrap up, I want to guide you through a set of bookmarks and recommendations that we have for you to make your life easier on dealing with your website and tracking the health of your website. Well, first of all, as we said in the beginning, the purpose of our presentation is this page, the Webmaster Central page, google.com.tr/webmasters. From here, you can access the Webmaster tools, you can access the Help Center, you can access the discussion forums, support forums, and even the Webmaster Central blog, where there are several topics related to webmasters. So, for example, this is a snapshot of the Webmaster Help Center. So the Webmaster Help Center is basically a set of, a very large collection, actually, of frequently answered questions or frequently asked questions that we collected along the time, and we know that webmasters often ask. So most of the most popular questions are already there, like how to implement, like I want to change a domain of my site, how do I do it? Probably it's there. There is also like a set of like, there's also the link to the forum. This is like the Webmaster Health Forum. So Moris even participates in this forum once in a while. Like if you have doubts on any kind of question that you don't find in the Help Center, you go there and it's like there's a community of webmasters that help each other on a daily basis. We often, as Google employees, we monitor these forums, and we often bring inside valuable information on things that possibly are not working as intended as well. So if we see something that it's probably our fault and not the webmaster's fault, we'll try to fix it. There's also, this is the Webmaster guidelines. So how many of you are familiar with this page? Great, I see some hands. So what are the Webmaster guidelines? Well, the Webmaster guidelines are basically a set of technical and quality guidelines. So technical guidelines, it's like best practices that you can implement on your site to increase accessibility and relevance. So if you want to know the details on what's the best way to say that this is the most important URL rather than this one, you can check it in the technical guidelines. In the quality guidelines, we have a set of best practices like what to do or what not to do in Google. For example, if you try to hide keywords in your site to kind of boost your relevancy in a not very nice way, probably we have it there like what not to do, because this will infringe our guidelines and probably the web spam team will take action on your site. So we have also a Webmaster Central blog where at least once a week there are videos and tutorials on how to do webmaster related stuff. The team in Dublin posts actually in the Google AdSense blog here in Turkish. So if you check the Turkish AdSense blog, you will find their localized content. But you can also subscribe to the English version of the Webmaster Central blog. So, and that's all from us today. Note the bookmark, google.com.tr/webmasters. We will be in the booth later if you have some questions to ask us about Google search and webmasters. Thank you very much.